The way I manage my time has been crazy simple now for the past year. You can call it the minimalist time blocking method. It basically boils down to a stack of cards, Apple Calendar, and 10 time-tested principles that I use every single day, which not only made my day 10 times more efficient, but genuinely changed how I viewed my life. So in this video, I'm sharing this 10 evidence-based principle that I developed during my year as a management consultant, which is a career notoriously for having some of the most chaotic schedule imaginable. Let's get started. Principle number 1 is to realizing time management has nothing to do with time. I stumbled across this idea in a tweet from Tim Ferriss that hits me really hard. Time management will never work until you stop trying to control your time and focus on controlling yourself. Now just let that sink in for a moment. Time management is really about controlling yourself. Because a lot of us believe that since we have a busy life, we naturally don't have enough time. And if we can squeeze some extra hour into our days, we can somehow accomplish more. But in reality, the root cause of us living a busy life is because we're making terrible decisions about how we use our time. So actually, it's really about decision making and self-control. I remember when I was working in Hong Kong a few years ago, whenever I was double booked for some random meeting, I'll be like, man, I can't really decline this. What would the partner think of me? What if they don't invite me to another project? Then I will literally accept both of these meetings at the same time slot. I will hop on one call from my computer and the other call from my cell phone. Let me tell you, I wasn't the only one doing this. In the corporate world, especially in Asia, we wear this insanity like a badge of honor. But now many years later, when I think about it, I could have said no to things like that. I could have said no because I had 100% control over my life 100% of the time. Yes, you may have a boss and family obligation, or even maybe a really bossy parents, husband or wife. But at the end of the day, you choose what gets your time and attention. If you make smart decisions about your commitment, those meaningless distractions simply wouldn't exist in your life. So that realization has definitely granted me a lot of mental clarity about time management down the road. And once you have that mental clarity, the next step is to take back control of your time. And this is how I do it. Yes, it's a piece of index card. How does it work? It's actually really simple. At the end of each day before I go to bed, I grab a fresh index card. I write down only 3 to 5 things I commit to accomplish tomorrow. Then when tomorrow comes, I go absolutely all out to complete those. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I have a master to-do list with 50 things on it. I mean, sure, I have one of those too, but let's be honest. That massive list isn't really a to-do list. We can call it a someday list, or a watch list, or even a bucket list. And this card, everything on this card, you gotta finish them today. I'm obsessed with simplicity. The simpler your to-do list, the more likely you will remember what's important and urgent. But here's the interesting part. After trying this out for a couple months, most of the time, I can't even finish those 3 to 5 meaningful tasks in a day. So why on earth am I doing a to-do list of 15 or 20? I just realized I wasn't doing myself any favor by taking on more than I can handle in a single day. I was just reducing the quality of everything else I do. So if something doesn't fit on your card, forget it. At least for today, it doesn't exist. For example, my card for today only have 4 things. Finish shooting this video, complete a marketing benchmark report for one of my clients, get a haircut, meet with that same client for a presentation. If I finish those 4 things, today is a win. And that's not all. If you flip the card over, you will see another list. Throughout my day, whenever I accomplish something that wasn't on my short to-do list, I write them down on the back of the card, which I call the non-to-do list. This has actually been quite helpful because I often have one of those days that I felt so tired, but I couldn't really recall what I have been doing all day. Well, in that case, I flip over that card and the non-to-do list is the answer. It forces me to pause and reflect. Am I really short on time? Or am I just trying to do way too much? Principle number 3 is where things get intense. I call it zero-based time blocking. Think of it like the emergency protocol for those absolutely crazy days. You know the ones I'm talking about. When you are catching a 5 a.m. flight, hitting client meeting in 2 different cities, and still need to deliver on multiple projects. On days like this, throw your index card out of the window because it's just not gonna cut it. You need a time blocking method that accounts for every single minute of your day. I'm talking meticulously scheduling everything. Not just work tasks, but meals, breaks, exercise, even your procrastination earn a spot on your calendar. You may ask, like, why do you go so extreme? Because in that situation, we know our day is going to be chaotic. By leaving zero time unplanned, you eliminate chances of mistake and small procrastination moments that can completely derail your day. Look, I hate rigid scheduling as much as the next guy because it directly counters what's known as a Parkinson's law, which says work expands to fill whatever time you give it. But here's what I learned about rules over the years. Every rule has its exceptions. Think about it. When your day is packed to breaking point, you don't really have the luxury of letting work expand. Obviously, you're not working with extra time. You're desperately fighting to catch up. So absolutely worst scenario is that when your day gets so chaotic that you forget 1 or 2 critical items, triggering a catastrophic change chain reaction that ruins everything else. That's why I become obsessed with time blocking these high-stake days down to the minute. Like, I even schedule my own procrastination. Does that sound ridiculously intense and unrealistic? That's because it is. It's meant to be that way, and it shouldn't happen every single day. But don't worry, not every day is like this, and most of the time, you don't have to go crazy of scheduling everything. But I also think it's very important for you to know that whenever this high-stake day comes into your life, you come prepared and you know exactly what you need to do. Principle number 4 has to do with procrastination. So here's a very counterintuitive suggestion. Stop fighting your procrastination and start using it. This whole idea comes from Stanford professor John Perry's concept of structured procrastination. When I first read about this, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna save me so much time. The key idea is that you should never fight procrastination. Instead, you want to leverage it to accomplish even more. Think about your typical day when you're going down your to-do list. Now, we all have some way to give priority to our to-do list. Most of us do the most urgent and most important tasks. And surely those usually gets done first. But what happens next is where most productivity systems break down. Because most people default to whatever feels the easiest or things we feel like doing, not what's actually necessary and important. In other words, our personal preference in choosing tasks hijack our decision making all the time. Take myself as an example. One thing I hate most is Zoom meetings. I'll send email, I'll meet in person occasionally, but something about these video calls, I just never quite a big fan of it. But here's the crazy part. My hatred for Zoom has made me incredibly productive in other areas. To avoid jumping on additional video call, I will meticulously refine my presentation to eliminate any confusion. I will write incredibly detailed, crystal clear emails. I've even forced myself to schedule in-person lunch meeting with colleagues a lot more often, just to avoid opening the Zoom app. Here's another example. Part of the reason I started this YouTube channel was because I hated my old job because I was traveling so much. In order to make myself seem very busy, I would do extra research for my firm just to stay busy and avoid traveling. Those research actually become some of my earliest videos. You see what I'm saying? We all go to extreme lengths to avoid the things we hate. So why not harness that powerful avoidance energy? When you find yourself procrastinating on task A, don't waste time feeling guilty. Immediately pivot to another important task B. Your procrastination just becomes the productivity superpower. Principle number 5 sounds absolutely crazy at first. Actively seek out situations where you might fail. I learned this from one of the most brilliant analysts I have ever worked with. This young woman was incredibly capable. The kind of talent who gets invited to every important meetings, whether it's new project kickoff, client proposal, or high-stakes social events. But she would say something that absolutely baffled me every time she took on a new challenge. She would say, I will try my best, but I'm sure I will mess it up. At first, I thought she was just being humble and just managing expectations, right? We will do that. But here's the thing. Sometimes, despite her obvious talent and preparation, she actually did fail. Finally, I had to ask her, why do you keep on volunteering for things you think you will fail at? With the biggest, most genuine smile, she looked at me straight in the eye and said, because failure helped me grow. That might be the most profound thing I've ever heard from a 20-year-old. Most people completely underestimate the power of strategic failure and its hidden connection to time management. There are 2 critical insights here. First, growing fast ultimately saves you tremendous amount of time becoming your best self. Think about it. Would you rather take 10 years of comfortable success or 2 years of challenging failure to reach the same destination? And second, this is a sneaky brilliant part. Only the people who truly trust your value will give you the chance to fail. By being open about potential failure, you automatically filter out the time-wasting opportunity and relationship that aren't worth your energy. All those people who just want to use your talent without investing in your growth, they will run for the hill when you suggest you might fail. And that is a good thing. It's probably going to save you a lot of time over the years. Now, principle number 6 is going to feel like a complete contradiction to principle 3. I call it the perfect mess. And it comes from this fascinating book called A Perfect Mess that's completely changed how I view the easy days. On a day where you think you're not in an emergency mode, you want to have a complete open calendar and make absolutely no fixed appointment. That means you can focus 100% on whatever feels most important and interesting to you during that day. The perfect human example who's using this principle is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger. For over 20 years, Arnold has refused to schedule appointment in advance. If you want to meet with him, you call when you're available, and if he's free at the moment, you meet. If not, you try again later. Most people will think this is insane for someone of his stature. But look at the result. When he decided to run for governor of California, he didn't have to cancel a single meeting or any long-term commitment. He could immediately pour all his energy into the campaign. But of course, I'm not Arnold, and chances are you're not Arnold, so my My modification to this principle is that I only apply when I know I'm having an easy day. Because back in business school, my calendar looked like a Tetris board because I had no choice. But after graduating with my master's degree, I realized life sort of have a rhythm, right? Sometimes it gets super busy and sometimes it's gonna have some easy days. So during one of these days, it's actually very important for you to defend your precious freedom and always look for ways to maximize your productivity. Think about this paradox. We constantly complain about not having enough time, yet when someone wants to schedule a meeting, whenever we finally catch a break, we are often incredibly generous with our time. That makes absolutely zero sense to me. If you're having a rare, precious day with flexibility, why do you give it away so easily? So here's my alternative approach for these days. 1. I grab my index card with 3 to 5 critical tasks, finishing them as quickly as humanly possible. Since this is an easy day, there are probably not going to be too many of them. After that, then, and this is the beautiful part, I do whatever the hell I want. And when someone tries to claim a block of my time, I really think about whether I want to surrender that freedom. And remember, you have 100% control over your time, and nobody knows better than you how to best use it. Speaking of the best way to use your time, let me take a quick moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. I've been a Skillshare subscriber for 7 years now, and there's a reason I've stuck with them for so long. Skillshare isn't just the largest online community for creatives, it's also a goldmine of knowledge with thousands of classes taught by genuine experts in practically every field imaginable. What I love most is how perfectly it fits into our discussion about time management today. When you got this perfect mass day with open block of time, Skillshare is one of the most productive way of investing in yourself. And as a YouTuber, I'm constantly looking for tools that makes my creative process more efficient. Right now, I'm taking this incredible Canva course called Social Media Content Creation in Canva. The brilliant thing about Skillshare is that there's a class for every skill level. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking for advanced techniques, you will find something perfectly matched to where you are. Want to learn Japanese writing system? Need to master Notion for productivity? Looking to edit professional quality audio? They got you covered. So whether you're trying to make most of your summer or looking to launch your own creative business, Skillshare is a perfect place to start. And now they're doing a promotion with this channel. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today and see what you can create. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now principle number 7 is managing your energy. Unlike a predictable 24 hours in a day, your energy actually fluctuates quite a lot. There are some hours you're laser focused on your task, while other hours you can barely keep your eye open staring at the same email. In 2006, researcher Tony Schwartz and Catherine McCarthy ran an experiment with banking employees, focusing on strengthening their 4 dimensions of energies, namely their body, emotion, mind, and spirit. The results show the participants went through this process showed a 13% year-over-year performance increase and consistently outperformed the control group for an entire year. So what does that mean for you? First, you need to identify your personal energy patterns. When are you naturally more focused? For me, it's the first 3 hours after waking up. That's when my brain is firing on all cylinders. Next, organize your task by energy requirements, not just importance. For example, my most energy draining tasks including filming videos like this one, important meetings, and creative writing. And my low energy tasks including checking emails, reviewing work, and household chores. So during your peak energy window, tackle the tasks that have the biggest overlap between the most important and high energy requirement. And you want to save those administrative low energy tasks for when your battery is naturally running low. Instead of feeling guilty for being on all day, it's probably a better way of saying that. I work with my natural rhythm rather than against them. If you're interested in learning how energy and attention affect productivity, check out my previous video on TEA method, where I deep dive into how these 3 elements work together to maximize your output. Principle number 8 is a 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to complete, just do it immediately. Don't add it to your to-do list, don't file it away for later, don't overthink it, just knock it out right now. Think about how many tiny tasks piling up in your day, responding to a quick task, signing a document, scheduling an appointment, those sort of things. Each one might only take you 90 seconds, but when you defer them, they create this looming psychological burden that drains your energy. For example, when my kid asks me to shop for some pet supply online, if I don't do it immediately, I may have a very subtle worry throughout my day thinking maybe I've forgotten something, and I often have. And my kids are often angry. And there is a psychological term for this. I think it's called Zeigarnik effect in psychology. It basically says that unfinished tasks occupy a mental bandwidth until they are complete. And if you can sort of handle them very quickly and forget about them, you should absolutely do that. Principle number 9 might just be the most practical tool in your arsenal. Use a phone focus mode to reclaim hours of your day. So consider focus mode just be the artificial limiter that you put on your phone to really dumb down the functionality on your iPhone. So here's how I did it. Instead of having a general purpose phone setup, I've created specific focus modes for each distinct area of my life. Morning mode, which only has essential apps for starting my day. I have a work mode, strictly work-related tools with zero distractions. I have a family mode, communication app only, no social media. I have a creative mode, tools for my YouTube channel and side projects. And I also have a consumption and wind down mode, like reading apps and utility for ending my day. Each mode has a custom home screen with only the app that's relevant to the specific context, and everything else is completely hidden from view. I've actually made a separate video explaining how did I set it up. It's a little bit of a hassle to be honest, but it was very well received, so that's 30 minutes of setup time. We will probably save you hundreds of hours this year alone. So if you want to pause this video and go watch that one first, click right here to see that video first. And principle number 10 is perhaps the most unexpected yet transformative technique I've ever discovered, which is called Interstitial Journalling. This idea actually came from an NBA trainer who worked with elite athlete on a concept called next play speed. For example, a hidden secret why Michael Jordan is the best basketball player is that he's both the best offensive and defensive player at the same time. And the key moment that made him that way is when the ball changes possession. While most players are still processing what just happened, Jordan is always the first man to pivot and explosively change direction. And over hundreds of possessions in a game, that split-second difference is actually where the game are won or lost. And your productivity works the same way. When you finish one task and need to start another, there's a dangerous limbo where your mind is still stuck on the previous work while trying to engage something new. That's often when you pick up the phone, scrolling through Instagram, or start chatting with a person you had a crush on. So there's a simple solution to all this. It's between every significant task, you just journal. This is called interstitial journaling. Every time you finish one task and before you start the next, open your notebook and write down these 3 simple things. What's the time? What did I just do? What is my next task? This only takes 2 to 3 minutes but creates a clean psychological break between activities. It's a mental equivalent of Jordan's pivotal foot, a consistent, repeatable action that makes transition automatic rather than chaotic. So that's my 10 powerful principles that have completely transformed how I manage my time and get things done. But I need to be honest with you about something important. Getting more done is just a means to the end. The real goal in life isn't often maximum productivity. It's a life well lived. In fact, filming this video has been on my index card for a couple of days already. And despite knowing all this principle I just talked to you about, I struggle to finish it. So let me leave you with this final thought. If you manage to implement 10 of this principle, that's fantastic. If you only stick with 5 of them, that's perfectly okay. And if you walk away just learning one thing from this video, you should be incredibly proud of yourself. I mean, people who drawn to time management tips are often high-achieving perfectionists. We're constantly pushing ourselves to do more, be more, achieve more, but living a truly happy life means learning to be satisfied with what you already accomplished. And just as you can choose to become efficient, you can also choose to be satisfied. I think both are equally powerful choices. So that's it for this video. If you are interested in more productivity tips like this, I honestly think AI workflow is probably the best opportunity for us to get things done in limited amount of time. And I made a video just about that a couple of days ago. So if you are interested, click right here to see that video. I'll see you there.